Hello everybody, this is Kirusho here. Now, before I begin, I did say that I changed up the timeline so that they are going to be attacking UA, along with the fact that the forest training camp is going to be from 2 weeks to now being moved down to a month. But, with that being said, I basically gave myself basically 2 extra weeks, if not an extra month and a half, in between all this, and I'm currently 4 weeks in. Now, I will be continuing basically where I'm at. Now, near to the end of the 4 week period, Deku and Mina have been training. Mina is going at a good 20%, while Deku is going as much as he can. Now, Deku, he's actually learning more about this quirk, along with the fact that with them constantly training and him trying to improve, this torture on his body that he calls training is actually helping him quite a bit. His body is adjusting to the quirk, along with the fact that it already resonated with his body was already accustomed to one side of the quirk. Now, eventually Deku and Mina, Deku, he's going all out and really intense as he would throw a kick and Mina would immediately grab it, basically turning him around and throwing him as far as she can. Now, Deku would immediately recover as he would come in as fast as he can and actually throw a punch. As soon as he did that, he found that this is quite intense. This quirk is good. No wonder. As Deku, he immediately begins waving his hands around, he creates something new. He creates wind tunnels around his arms. As he does this, he actually finds it to be very interesting, as he is just stockpiling the force these are giving off, basically sucking the wind back in, basically creating more and more force. As he does so, he immediately just rushes towards Mina as he is moving a lot faster. Mina, she immediately just watches as Deku's coming straight for her. She actually does bring her hands up to guard, and as soon as she does so, Deku, he immediately just punches straight through it, sending her flying backwards. Now, Deku, he's immediately asking her if that was it, as he immediately just holds out his left arm as he jumps to his right. He immediately just begins by just basically boosting to the left, as he's found another way to increase his speed. Now, Mina is actually really surprised by this, as Deku, he's somewhat found a new way to use the new quirk. She actually does crank herself to the 30%, as she's just charging after him. As these two are going at it, Deku, he would immediately just find out a way to, he's trying to find out a way to keep this quirk versatile. The fact that he's able to do it in his arms is good, but keeping his arms moving like that, or keeping his arms spinning around like that a little bit, it's somewhat annoying, even though it does grant a big power boost. Now, along with that, stockpiling the motion he's creating, it's actually a bit intense. With that, Deku, he immediately would begin by just trying it out in his feet and in his legs. He's doing so as he slowly would be lifting off the ground. He's actually really happy about this, as whenever Mina was essentially just trying to mess with him and actually just basically play and toy around with him, Deku would just immediately be doing this. He's basically just hovering in the, not hovering in the air, but hovering for a second as he would be able to boost in and actually just try and fight with her, essentially with tornadoes around his legs. Now, with this, Deku, he's actually having a lot of fun, as soon as he comes in to throw a punch at Mina with this essentially tornado fist, Mina would immediately try and counter with her own, as she would unlock Black Whip. Now, I want to say Black Whip's awakening around now-ish, because her constant training and the fact that she's basically, with All Might dead, I want to say the quirk would have fully transferred to her already. What I mean by fully is, it only needs, well, basically with one person, you can only have that quirk. And whenever one for all is shared between two people, I want to say it does grant that power decrease. Because I do believe All Might said that the more the successor gains control of the power, the less the predecessor has. Because I remember him saying that he's been feeling weaker since Midoriya has been getting stronger. Now then. That's basically because I want to say that they're drawing from the same source of power. With that, I want to say that whenever Mina, she does throw this punch and basically unlock this quirk, she somewhat is scared about this and goes crazy for a second. Deku would watch as he immediately brings his hands up to defend, and Mina basically just, Black Whip basically just lashes it around and basically just blows Deku away, severely injuring him in the process. Stain and quite a bit of the other league members would have to jump in to actually stop this from happening. Stain basically cutting Mina on the arm and actually getting a piece of her blood. Basically freezing her up in place, but Black Whip is still losing control. And I want to say Big Sis would basically come up behind her and knock her out with that giant pillar. Now then, with that, whenever Mina does wake up, she's actually, well, they're both actually still on the couch, but Deku's quite a bit banged up. Now then, with that, Mina's confused until All For One basically explain what he thinks is going on. Along with the fact that he would just say that with her getting stronger and her having a new quirk, he was going to offer something for her. Well, offer her something. If not, he was going to offer her a third quirk. Now, with that, I do believe training with Kirishima would be your best option, since this quirk is quite similar. I believe Shinsho and Deku would be able to do what I need them to do. What are you doing? Well, Deku did have this idea. I'm not quite sure how much it will work. But those dead classmates you had, they may actually be of some use. We got Eraserhead's quirk from his corpse. And Deku just wanted to piss off the #1 hero. What are you talking about? Do you remember Todoroki? Yes. It was pretty funny look on his face. Yes, well, Deku did have a plan or a surprise for you. But I do believe he does not need one anymore. So, what's going on? I do believe that we are going to have Todoroki's quirk taken from his corpse and given to you. A half and half quirk. A little useful, actually. But I do believe now we can give it to one of our other members. As Deku would recover a couple hours later and wake up, he would find that she knows about everything that he had planned for her, and she is just sorry for what happened. Now, with that, Shinsho and Deku would eventually go to the graveyard and dig up Todoroki, getting his body and basically just messing with the #1 hero by leaving a message on his tombstone. Now then, with that, they would eventually do this, and All For One basically have Todoroki's corpse put through the process of not de-necrosis, but basically turning it into a Nomu. I do want to say that they would be able to harvest the quirk from the DNA, but the Nomu part would be a little more difficult. Now, but they would basically just harvest his quirk from the corpse and string it up somewhere. Probably string it up on like the street as a decoration or just messing with Endeavor. Now, with this, Mina and Kirishima will begin training, as Mina is now trying to learn how to use Black Whip. Kirishima is basically testing out his whole whip, or his... I think you can call it a thorn whip now, actually. Seems appropriate. But he just be testing this out and messing with it, as Shinsho is basically just working with Bakugo's quirk. Now, with that, I want to say Muscular, he would be brought in to basically field test both of these two. Basically, he would use his muscle augmentation and become a live target, moving around and doing all the stuff for them, but he would basically be getting them ready to train up against, or fight with. Now, with that, I do want to say that Sir Night-Eye and everyone at UA, Sir Night-Eye has looked into the future, so he knows what's coming with an attack. But it's just, well, every timeline he sees, things don't end well. He's tried looking into his own future, but he really does not want the answer to that question. Now, eventually we would get to the point where Dabi, he would take on Todoroki's half and half quirk. But sadly, he won't regenerate. Now, I want to say, I don't believe Toga would ever take that quirk. I don't even know what type of quirk I would give Toga. Now then, with that, we will begin our assault on UA with the Nomus. First off, we have our first Nomu. Nomu Eraserhead, or Nomu Aizawa. He's able to use somewhat of a whip similar to Ibarra's quirk, but he uses it to basically squeeze and wrap around people, capturing them if not trying to strangle them alive, like a living cobra or a king cobra. A living cobra, a snake. Jeez. Now then, with that, everyone is ready. They have a lot of heroes there, and in fact, they somewhat expect this. But what they didn't expect was Deku and Mina to be the first to arrive. Deku would just walk out and introduce himself saying, "Hey everybody! Now, plenty of familiar faces. Hey, I remember you guys. How y'all been? How's the families?" Anyways, as you have Tokoyami losing his shit as Sue's trying to calm him down. Who did I leave alive? Toru's dead. Hang on, let me figure this out actually. Alright, somewhat went over it, but basically, Uraka, she's in fear for her life as Tokoyami, he's freaking out. Deku would just immediately look at Tokoyami and activate Eraserhead's quirk, as Tokoyami just gains control over himself. He would look up seeing this, and he's actually completely in shock, as Mina and Deku both rush and blitz him. These two appear directly in front of him, as he is completely in fear. Deku just quite simply just holds up his hand as it begins forming a tornado. He then closes it and immediately would just try and punch him. As he does so, he actually does fracture his skull while knocking him to the ground. He would then just look up and tell them that they have 5 seconds to run. In fact, how about this? 5 minutes. As heroes would try responding and actually fighting against him. Now, Deku, he immediately would turn his head and see Endeavor as he turns on Eraserhead's quirk. Endeavor was about to fire off a ginormous blast of fire, but now he can't, as he is then engulfed in a ginormous wave of ice. He turns his head as he just sees Dobby with what was it? Yeah, I do believe his right side hanging out as he actually does have the fire on his left. Endeavor's in complete shock looking at this, and he just gets mad as he just starts yelling at Dobby. Now, Dobby just says, huh, now I know why he hated the fire so much. This is so much easier. As he immediately just steps forward and just starts blitzing Endeavor with ice. Now, as that's happening, he would just immediately start burning fire in every single direction he can, as UA begins to burn through the ground. Now, Deku would just look at his watch, or he would just I want to say he'd be keeping track of time somehow, but he would just say, they still have a couple minutes. As he would just quite simply hold out his hand to Mina and ask her if she would want to dance. Now, Mina is confused as Deku would pull her close, and they would begin to dance. Deku swinging her around and actually showing her the beauty of everything as the world burns around them. As whenever him and her finish their musical number, basically, or finish dancing, this is whenever Deku, he would look down at his watch and see that it's been 5 minutes. Mina would just grab him, pulling him into a kiss as they would split up. So, you want to go after the frog, or who should we go after? I don't know, but I do know that most of Class 1B is basically 1A now. So, how about we try and go for the whole set? Music to my ears. As Mina immediately gets in a running stance and she takes off. Deku just immediately starts manipulating the force underneath him as he's manipulating the air to basically push him upwards. As he's doing so, he would immediately just start looking around as he begins to fly off. Now, with that, I do want to say he would actually find Uraka. Now then, Toga, she actually does basically get to Uraka before Deku can, and she would actually start draining her of blood. Now, with that, Deku, he's about to just fly past, as this is whenever Kendo would cut in. Basically punching Toga off of Uraka, as she just starts shouting that she can't believe that they are attacking UA. You guys really are idiots. Deku would just immediately land, and he would just show himself to her. Oh, we're not idiots. You don't think we really have these all planned out? You killed everyone. Oh, trust me. You even killed my best friend. I've killed a lot of people's best friends. You have to be more specific. Tetsu. That guy? Are you serious? And Ibarra. Oh, there it is. I thought it was going to be someone important. They were important. You can't just... As Toga would just stab into her hand with the needle. Now, Kendo is immediately just going to punch her off as Deku would just basically be holding her hand back with this giant airwave around it. He's actually struggling as she sees this. He's just telling her not to do that. As he immediately just erases her quirk and her hand shrink back down to size. He immediately just takes off his glove as he just starts bringing it towards her. She's in shock as Uraka, she immediately just slaps him with her hand as he begins to float up into the air. Deku somewhat laughs as he just says that he can manipulate it around him. It doesn't matter. As he tries to do so, he finds that he's actually struggling to actually stay on the ground without just forcing himself downward. She would just say that without her other hand, she can't really release. But she kind of doesn't feel like a villain like you would need to come back down. Ooh, did I strike a couple nerves? Anyways, as Deku immediately just says, that's not really going to help you at all. How so? As Deku would just immediately bring his fingers up, whistling. As soon as he does so, the Nomu would actually come running up as they watch it, and it immediately starts having its eyes glow. Deku immediately just comes back to the ground as he walks over to them. He would grab both of them by their faces as he would smash their skulls together. Now, he would just be looking at the Nomu and he would just order it to turn off its quirk, as it would do so. Now, he would just say to go hunt down other students, Aizawa, as he would leave. Now then, Sir Night-Eye, he's actually still in the UA building, as Deku, he starts making his way there. As soon as he goes to walk in, he would actually find that this place is booby-trapped. But that does not matter, as he would just start decaying and basically flying over traps when he needs to, moving around the building very, very, very fast. He would eventually find Sir Night-Eye in, let's say, the cafeteria, and he would just say that, Sir Night-Eye, correct? All Might's former sidekick? Yes, I assume that you are King Nothing. You would assume correctly. So, how do you want this to go? Painfully? Painlessly? How about another option? You give yourselves up to the authorities and we will let you off with just a lifetime sentence. A lifetime? You do know how much blood is on my hands, don't you? Yes, well, that is quite true. But at least you behind bars won't be that bad. In fact, I already do see that future. Oh, really? So what exactly do you see? As Sir Night-Eye would look into Deku's eyes, and he would actually view his future. He would see him behind bars in the next 24 hours. But this is confusing, as he would see Deku immediately just turn on a quirk, and that's where that future ends. Now, with that, Sir Night-Eye is somewhat stunned and confused. What? As Deku would immediately blitz him, and they would begin fighting. Sir Night-Eye is able to predict Deku, but whenever Deku does erase his quirk, Sir Night-Eye is only able to think a couple steps ahead. Deku would rapidly blink whenever he needs to, but without his... Basically, whenever he got that one quirk taken away, he cannot blink as fast. So, using Erasure quirk, he does suffer the drawbacks. Now, Deku, he would eventually take down Sir Night-Eye, but this is not where the story ends. The rest of the heroes would be arriving and on their way as Deku, he would text Kirigiri to open a portal and actually send him through. Now, with that, Deku, he begins walking out, as he sees Kirishima and Shinsho fighting and actually taking on a lot of the students, along with taking them out and killing them. Deku would eventually find Toga, as she is taking and draining the blood from both of Kendo and Uraka's bodies. Now, with that, I do want to say Uraka, she's almost in the state of... she's basically almost a fifth of her blood low, which is whenever she will have her body go into shock very soon. But Deku, he would just instruct her to get different blood from different people. We may actually need your mimic ability soon. Oh, really? Yes, but hopefully you can pass by with the quirks. I think I should. Good. As Mina would immediately start walking towards Deku, Deku sees her covered in blood. She's just saying that, oh, she had a fun time. But I have a question. Look at the little froggy, as she would just hold up Froppy's head. Now, with that, she would also go on saying that She took out a lot of the Class 1B characters, or extras, as Bakugo used to call them. Extras, really? You're going with that? Well, what do you want me to say? Something funny. Oh, hardy har, Mr. Nothing. Well, I do think we have a prediction. I do think we have something to predict. What do you mean? Well, funny thing, Sir Night-Eye saw me in jail in the next 24 hours. So, guess what we need to happen? I'm not following. Kirishima and Shinsho need to go to jail or at least get caught. Are you serious? Well, yeah. Basically, just think about it. We can get them caught, and we can take out and kill most of the people in the prison. If not, we can take out and kill most of the guards, causing a prison break. Besides, maximum security. Where do you think they would take us? You make a good point. But how do you know you'll be able to use your quirk? Well, that's just it. I don't know what exactly it was talking about, or what he was talking about, but he said that he was confused. I think if I can mix Foresight with Eraserhead's quirk, it could make something better. So, what are you talking about? Think about it. Seeing into the future and erasing a quirk. What could that make? I'm not sure, actually. As Deku, he would just order everyone to retreat. UA is burned to the ground, along with most people actually being somewhat concerned. Best Jeanist, well, not Best Jeanist, but Endeavor, he got heavily injured in the fight with Dobby because of the fact that not only was he severely burned and basically beaten, he also had one of his arms severely taken down, if not severely injured. Now, with that is where I'm leaving this part off of, guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.